Larry, I wanted to pick up on something that you mentioned in our previous interview. We had talked about the time you had spent with Bob and all the very significant and impactful, if not subtle, teachings and the whole trajectory of the teachings that you receive from Baba on a daily basis, meeting with him as his correspondence secretary. And one of the things that came up was that it seemed, knowing, of course, Baba's teachings and the fundamental and core aspect, the significance of right understanding on the path, that was really what Baba was teaching you. Can you comment on that and relative to like the course and I mean what with anyway, you let me go. It's you.
Yeah,
You.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. Guess I did have many lessons in right understanding through the correspondence, through my work with Baba on many fronts, whether they were courses or the centers. It dawned on me eventually that the important thing with all of the various aspects of the spiritual journey is to have right understanding, because otherwise you can be right there, but not understanding what's going on truly. And so that was an that was an interesting awakening in itself, I guess I would call it to me. That it's not just reading a text, hearing a lecture, but it's like understanding it properly based on, again, the teachings of the scriptures and of the sages. So every time it was a matter of how do we apply right understanding to a situation in life? Because as I was saying to you before, people were calling, writing, and asking about their lives. And so maybe it was, should I come spend more time with you, Baba? Should I become a monk? There were those kind of straightforward spiritual questions that I was just looking for a yes or no answer. But very often they were slightly more involved and complicated. And if you really were to say what were they were about how do I live my life being true to the teachings of the scriptures. And as simple as how do I see God in other people, much less myself. And so that was a matter of having the right understanding about it. And there was no one way that you could say it means this. And I'd like to turn it around to say what I started to realize that every time as a person was asking a question about something out there, even on the spiritual path, mostly Baba Muktananda was turning the lens back onto that person and saying, how do you apply those teachings, even what he was saying, to you with correct understanding of those teachings? So, and as I said before, there's just many different ways of looking at it. Is the right understanding about how to be true to the path, becoming a monk, and pushing away your life? Well, for the most part, the scriptures and the sages are not saying that. They're saying you lead, especially the first part of your life, in a way that allows you to grow, to learn, to have a career, a dharmic path, maybe raise a family, whatever that is, but do it in a way that's consistent with the teachings. So there was no simple answer to that. It was Baba would always challenge a person really to say, things like, what what is your mind doing? Is it working for you or against you? So, it could be as simple as, I remember for some reason, one example comes to me. Uh, I don't know the exact detail, but somebody wrote and they were asking about uh, a decision, a choice, something they were doing, and they had written twice about it,
Good.
which is not a good thing. It's the same thing. And Baba, he was working on things and listening, and he said, didn't she get my last answer? Why is she not doing it? What's the thing? So again, practice. So he is a profound teaching that he's giving. And, it's going out to her, but I'm really taking it in, which is, if the teacher tells you to do something, your focus should be on doing it, practicing. And it may be challenging, but don't come back and try to slip out of it, is how I understood that. Just keep working with how to apply that teaching. Patience, willpower, sometimes simply faith. That's right understanding. Apply the truth. Don't try to twist the truth, and I know it sounds funny, but we all do that. We kind of want to just twist it away to meet our situation. And the teacher, the sage, is saying, no, keep at it. Keep facing in that direction and working with it. Eventually, it will sort itself out. So how simple is that? But how challenging is that? Practice. Patanjali says practice and detachment. And often it's a matter of detaching from something that's harming us, be it an action or a thinking pattern, and working with really doing the right thing, doing the thing that's going to uplift us, and that's not always, it may be changing a very deeply seated habit of thinking in the wrong way, which is what we all run into, isn't it?
Yeah, no. This is a very important. This whole idea of right understanding. If you ask a normal person, they have no idea what we're talking about when we're talking about right understanding. And so this, as we've just discussed, is a fundamental aspect of the true spiritual path. Yes. And the process of awakening.
Yes.
Without right understanding, there is nothing.
Yes. You have to understand it properly. You have to understand, what does it mean to say, Tatvamasi, you are that, or Brahman, or, you are consciousness, Chaitanyam Atma, the self is consciousness. That's so easy to say. And it's kind of like it gives you a hit, doesn't it? But in your life, how does one operate from that space of really aligning with, feeling, having faith in whatever is working for you or moving you in the right direction of, I am consciousness, actually, to align yourself with that. So that means then that if I am consciousness, how do I interact with a person? How do I choose a profession? How do I raise a family? All of those basic, true challenges of life. How do I do that? In a way, and, one of the things that I feel strongly about and is underneath it is to say, if one is that consciousness, the inner self is consciousness, then having the faith that that's true, even if I'm not experiencing it in the moment, that is the challenge, to operate in a way almost as if, well, if I were this inner self, how would I then operate? And the amazing thing that I know, we've experienced at times, and you could see from so many people that ask these questions, if you can just get yourself to move in that direction of acting like that, something seems to happen, to shift, to just even subtly change and bring in a different light, as it were, to our situation. And that's then powerful. Then when you get that reaction, when you see that happen, then you would, with that right understanding, you go, I'm going to go for that more often, because that's really what I'm aiming for.
That's it. That's what we'll be talking about. That's what we'll be experiencing directly in the Total Immersion Retreat that
That's
we invite you all with deep love and respect to join us.